This is the bowl of Himalayan balsam that I collected in my last video, and all parts of this plant are edible, and it's good to eat it because, as most of you probably know, it's hugely invasive, and we've actually seen more of it around than Japanese knotweed. And it looks beautiful, and I think it was introduced to this country because the flowers, these are a day old now, so they're looking a little ragged, but the flowers are sort of like orchids, so I can imagine they would have been really attractive when they were first brought in. But all down our waterways, they're just everywhere, and they even seem to be fighting and winning with the bracken in some places. So you can eat them. The flowers, if you pop them into gin, they'll turn your gin pink. But what I'm going to do is get the seeds, and the seeds will taste a little bit like hazelnuts. And when you pick them, you have to be really careful that you don't expel the seeds, because another name for this is jumping jack, and you can touch the seed pod and then the seeds just explode out, and they can go feet, like 20 foot. So I caught mine in a bowl and cut them off. And so what I'm doing now is just releasing the seeds, and it's really weird. So you get a seed pod like that, whoop, and you squeeze it, and it all comes open and curls up, and it feels like it's alive, and it's a bit weird the first time you do it. And then you get all the little seeds, you can see there. So I'm going to collect them all, and then I'm going to toast them a little bit and then sprinkle them onto a salad. We're starting today, coming up to Fradley Junction. It's a Sunday, it's been super busy, and we've got a real traffic jam going on here, and the boats up ahead have had to pole off the other boats to avoid hitting them. But all seems to be well now, hopefully. We met this little pixie with its alarmed brand new owner in his first ever lock. It actually sleeps 2 people. And this here is a concrete boat, one of only 3. I first noticed it because it's got a huge chunk knocked out the back of it. And he said he was hit by a wide beam, so he tries not to get into arguments with steel boats for obvious reasons. How old is she?
66 years old.
Wow. How long have you had her?
7 years.
Wow. Vintage. It looks like a prize gathering, doesn't it? We are working our way down the Coventry Canal on a very windy day, and there's a boat adrift in the canal in front of us, and rather than just go past it, we're going to see if we can pull it in, because it's a bit of a hazard. This actually happened to us the other day. We came back from a shopping trip and found our pins weren't quite as we'd left them, and later on the same day we bumped into a couple of boaters who'd found our boat drifting down the canal. The pins had got pulled out, and they'd really kindly pulled the boat in and pinned it up for us again. So you don't want to leave things like this. Usually passing boats have pulled the pins out, so hopefully H will be able to find the pins and get it secure. It's always a bit of a worry pulling the boat in to a side like this, which isn't a mooring, because quite often it's shallow and you get stuck on it, but it seems to be okay.
It's a bridge coming up as well, so make a note of the
Turns out it had no pins in it at all, so we've had to fashion some out of bits of wood with a passing cyclist, but we're going to try and call the CRT now or someone and see if anyone knows anything about it. It looks a bit abandoned. But anyway, we've got to move off now because the traffic is coming down thick and fast. Well, that was fun and games, but we're all okay now. What you didn't see was I got off to hold the boat on the centre line and I'd stupidly left it just out of neutral, and we went careening off down the towpath with me pulling with all my might on the centre line. But luckily the cyclist that was helping Henry moor the other boat managed to stop us. So we are now still on the Coventry, but we've gone past Paisley Junction heading towards Tamworth. And the only thing I know about Tamworth is its two famous pigs. So if you don't know about those, you'll have to Google it. We're making our way slowly to Rugby and then on to get our first engine service done, which you have to get done at 250 hours. And we want to get a few niggles sorted out. And we're meeting somebody in Rugby who's going to adjust our solar because we had a couple of little problems with that. In the meantime, I discovered a big batch of blackberries and I'm off to pick some more. Oh my God, that was close. Well, this morning we're currently going up the Atherstone flight and I'm in lock number 3 of 13, and you can see from the water level how far I've got and no more's coming in, so H has gone on up to the next lock and he's going to have to release some water down so that I can float out of this one. So I think it's busy today, boats coming up and down, and some of the pounds are quite low of water. But I can see the water gushing down now. So hopefully the boat should start lifting soon. This is how shallow it is today. Can't believe I'm still going along. Oh, we just had to negotiate a fallen tree in the canal. We just managed to squeeze past, so better report that. Today we are coming down into Nuneaton, and the approach has been really nice. There's lots of disused quarries around here which have been made into nature reserves, and there's lots of nice countryside around too, so we might wander back here and go walking at another time. Nuneaton is where George Eliot was born, and as we come out of it this afternoon there's a place called the Narrows, I think, which was what she used as the Red Deep in her book The Mill on the Floss, an amazing book. So I might have a look at that as we come out this afternoon. But Nuneaton is a market town and there's lots of them around here. The trick is to arrive in town on market day. Today's Wednesday and it should be market day in Nuneaton, so hopefully we'll be able to get some supplies there. Henry's dressed like it's winter, trying to keep the wind off his neck. It is August, but it hasn't been the best August, I have to say. Well, we found the market in Nuneaton, and and got all our supplies, which was good, and went and had a look in the museum to have a look at the local history of the place, because that's always interesting. And when we'd come down into Nuneaton, we'd noticed that there's just hundreds of allotments that run all down the side of the town. I've never seen so many in one place, and I think that Nuneaton itself is sort of on a floodplain, and it's got clay soil, and I think originally when it started up it wasn't really suitable for large-scale farming, and so there was lots of small holdings. So around about the 11th century, something like 4 farms per square mile. I can't really call them farms at that size, but small holdings. So it's almost like the tradition carries on with all the allotments now. So that was nice. We went to have a look at the area that might have been the Red Deeps from the mill on the Floss, but there was nothing to see there really. But it's a really pleasant canal. There's lots of boat communities as you come down it, and the boats always look sort of friendly somehow, you know, not too slick, so that's been nice. Anyway, we're shortly coming up to the turn off for the Oxford, which is where we'll be going tomorrow, so we'll see what the junction's like there. They're usually quite buzzy around a junction. So we've just spotted the Oxford Canal through the trees, which means we're going to have a very sharp turn to go back up this way again. And so we arrive at Hawkesbury Junction. I'm going through this very narrow bit here, and then we've got to do an immediate left turn and another left turn onto the Oxford Canal to Rugby. You gotta breathe in here. That's where we've got to go. Made it. It's alright, we've squeezed through there. Well, we're on the Oxford. Just went through the first lock where a very charming woman said my boat gave her a migraine and then went on about it. Well, it's really nice moorings here, apart from that over there, which is totally unnecessary. Chucked off someone's boat by the looks of it, so I'm going to have to walk that all up to the nearest bin. Apart from that, very nice. And that's all for this week, folks. See you on the next video. Bye for now.